placement, production placement, mixtape hosting, and all of the above. For more information, call 704-774-6212 or go to teworldwide.com. Welcome back to the All Things Sport Podcast. Thank you so much for listening. I love you guys, man. I hope you love me back, man. Like Jeezy said, I love my listeners and they love me back. I don't know if Jeezy really said that, but it sounded like something that Jeezy would say, man. So, but I digress. Yeah, man, before the commercial break, I was talking to you guys about the Carolina Panthers and them trying to turn their season around. They got off to a really rough start, 1-5 before they played the Arizona Cardinals last week. Got the big win in the NFC Championship game rematch against the Arizona Cardinals. Now the Panthers sit at 2-5 with a road game to the Los Angeles Rams looming. Talked a little bit about the Panthers controlling the defensive line of scrimmage against the Arizona Cardinals. They were able to create pressure on Carson Palmer, not allow the Arizona Cardinals to have a consistent run game, making them a one-dimensional offense, forcing Carson Palmer to drop back and try to beat them through the air. They were able to create pressure, they being the Carolina Panthers, with their down 4 defensive linemen, not making it so hard for their secondary. They didn't have to blitz their linebackers, leaving their weak secondary exposed, which, made a all-around great effort for the defense. So I spoke to you about the defensive line. Let me get into the offensive line. Now, I have to give credit where credit is due. On the last podcast, I'm not going to front. I'm not going to lie. I was pretty harsh on the Carolina Panthers offensive line, man, because during that 1-5 start, they just weren't getting the job done. And, I will be the first one to tell you when you're not getting the job done. So when you do step up, when you do show improve, I have to give props where props are due. So you, Michael Orr, you, Andrew Norrell, you, Trey Turner, you, Ryan Khalil, and you, Mike Rimmers, I salute you. Excuse me, let me take a sip of this delicious Crystal Geyser Alpine spring water. So refreshing. Send the check, please, but I digress. So let's get into the defensive line play. The offensive line play for the Carolina Panthers. Now, the Panthers' offensive line have struggled mightily this season. Cam Newton has been under constant pressure. He has taken way more sacks early in the season this year than he did all of last season. Cam has been getting battered and bruised. He even missed the Tampa Bay Buccaneer game with a concussion. So he's been getting beat up. Cam is not having fun. He's fed up, ladies and gentlemen. He's not dabbing anymore. That signature smile that you're used to seeing from Cam Newton is gone. Cam, look your offensive lineman in the face. Tell him thank you for that last effort versus the Arizona Cardinals. They stepped up in a major way. And they stepped up to the point where the Carolina Panthers could control the offensive line of scrimmage. Now, the defensive line for the Arizona Cardinals is top notch. They don't have slouches on their defensive line. But as a unit, the offensive line for the Panthers, they pretty much controlled the game, especially in the first half. The Panthers built a 24-0 lead over the Cardinals. And they built that lead by controlling both lines of scrimmage. Now, offensively, they were able to run the ball. I spoke in the last podcast about the Panthers running back Jonathan Stewart not being available. And in the National Football League and in life in general, if you're a working man, if you're an athlete, if you're a doctor, a nurse, a lawyer, whatever that case may be, the best ability is availability. So if you're available to play, if you're available to perform, Jonathan Stewart, then you can make a big difference in the game. We saw a heavy dose of Jonathan Stewart during that Arizona Cardinals game. Stewart had 2 touchdowns during that Cardinals game, and he pounded the rock. Jonathan Stewart is a load to bring down. He wears the defense down as the game goes along. So the offensive line for the Panthers deserve kudos once again for controlling that offensive line of scrimmage, allowing the Panthers to run the ball. Now, if you can run the ball, if you're a Carolina Panthers team, you can also play action with that zone read off of the run. And that allowed Cam Newton to have a good but not great game. They didn't have to have a great game passing against the Arizona Cardinals because they controlled that offensive line of scrimmage so much that all they did was run the ball, and they pretty much controlled the scrimmage. They controlled the clock. So that offensive line, again, Michael Orr, Andrew Norwell, Trey Turner, Ryan Khalil, and Mike Rimmers, I got to salute you guys. I got to give you props. I got to shout you out. I got to put some respect on your name, a la Birdman. You guys played great. Let's see if you can keep it up, because your quarterback, last season's MVP, he's getting pounded so far this season. And Cam Newton is fed up with not getting calls that other quarterbacks get from referees. Cam Newton has taken several helmet-to-helmet shots, and he actually, set up a meeting and spoke with the commissioner of the National Football League, Roger Goodell. And it was reported by several media outlets that meeting went very well. Cam Newton is just tired of getting hit. He's tired of not being, put on the same level, on the same pedestal as a top flight quarterback in the National Football League. Is it because Cam Newton is a running quarterback? I don't think Cam Newton is a running quarterback. I think Cam Newton is a quarterback who can run. And I think referees sometimes look at his size and stature. Cam is a big guy, man. He is every bit of 6'5", 250 pounds. So basically, you got a tight end playing quarterback. And I think a lot of referees look at that and think that Cam can take that pounding just because of his stature. Referees, that ain't right. I'm telling you right now, that's wrong. Like Trump said, wrong. Referees, you need to make the calls when the calls are there to be made. If you see Cam Newton getting hit in the helmet, you got to throw the flag. If you call that flag for Tom Brady, you call that flag for Andy Dalton, you call that flag for Aaron Rodgers, you call that flag for whatever quarterback in the National Football League that suffers a helmet-to-helmet shot or a late hit. Or in Cam Newton's case in the Arizona Cardinals game, I thought Cam Newton tore his ACL. A defensive lineman tackled him at his knees. And if Cam Newton hadn't been so nimble and was able to turn his body in a certain way, I think he really would have blew out his knee. So referees, you got to protect the quarterback. I thought this was a mandate. I thought it was a mandate that the quarterbacks are the face of the franchise. The quarterbacks are what the NFL is all about. They get all the publicity. They get all the glory. So you got to protect the quarterbacks. And if you're going to protect one quarterback, you have to protect them all. And it seems like Cam Newton is not getting that same, level of protection that other quarterbacks in the NFL currently receive. So getting back to the offensive line play for the Carolina Panthers, Michael Orr, you got to protect Cam Newton. And you did a fantastic job, man. Now let's see if you can go to L.A. and protect Cam Newton versus the LA Rams, because Mr. Donald on the defensive line, the defensive line for the LA Rams is top notch. They have Pro Bowlers all on their defensive side of the football. So this is going to be a test for the offensive line and the offense as a whole for the Carolina Panthers. You got to sprinkle that ball into Greg Olsen. You got to get the ball to Kelvin Benjamin. You got to run the ball first and foremost with Jonathan Stewart. Jonathan Stewart has to stay healthy. The offensive line has to block for Cam Newton. Cam Newton has to play a whale of a game. You come out of that game against the LA Rams. If you win that game, you're 3-5 as a Carolina Panther. Then the next two games, you host the Kansas City Chiefs and you host the New Orleans Saints. You're 5-5 after 10 games. You got a 6-game stretch where you win 5 out of 6 games, or if you win those 6 games, you finish off your season, with a pretty 11-5 or 10-6. I think that's good for a playoff berth. Hell, I think it's good to win the NFC South. So the Carolina Panthers, your season is not over. Far from it. Ron Rivera, he's not going to panic. Mike Shula, get it together. Sean McDermott, look yourself in the mirror. Ask yourself, do you want your defense to get ran over? Or do you want your defense to dominate like they did much of last season? So the Carolina Panthers, again, you got time. There are plenty games left in this season. You got time to give your fans half off of Krispy Kreme dozen donuts. I'm not going to front. When the Panthers were playing the Arizona Cardinals, I was rooting for the Panthers to win. I'm a San Francisco 49ers fan. But I wanted the Panthers to win. You know why? Because I want Krispy Kreme. Like Mike Singletary said, I want winners. I need winners. Can't do it. Won't do it. I gotta win. And the Carolina Panthers, you have to win. You've spoiled your fan base, Jerry Richardson, Ron Rivera, Cam Newton. You've spoiled the Carolina Panthers fan base. They, being the Panthers fans, expect to win. They expect to win big. They expect to make it to the playoffs. They expect to make deep runs in the playoffs. And they expect to compete for Super Bowls. They expect to compete for those Super Bowls year in, year out. And the Carolina Panthers can put themselves back in that playoff picture this season, but they have to play lights out football from here on out. Now, this is just my humble opinion. You can leave yours on banksboy.com. That's the website. It's a shameless plug, I know. If you go to banksboy.com, you can download this podcast, download all the old podcasts. You can download our YouTube channel, In My Humble. You can read my blog. You can read my brother Pierre's blog. Shout out to Pierre. He is the analyst for the Appalachian State Mountaineer football team. This is his first season doing that. Really proud of Pierre. He used to join me on the podcast. Now, I'm a young Jason Derulo. I'm flying solo. I'm flying solo. Oh. Yeah, I can sing. I know, but I digress. This is going to bring an end to this episode of the All Things Sport podcast. I hope you guys had as much fun listening to me rant and rave about the Carolina Panthers as I did ranting and raving about said Carolina Panthers. Now, I'm flying solo these days, so I haven't broke the podcast down into segments yet like I want to do ultimately. I'm kind of getting the hang of being by myself, and it's lonely at the top, man. It's lonely out. It's a cold world out here, so you guys have to bear with me. I'm going to bring the segments back slowly but surely. But what I'm going to leave you with is a saying that my father, John Allen Banks Sr., has told me repeatedly throughout my life. And it goes a little something like this. It ain't a brag, it's a fact. That stuff that you trying to pull on me, man, I brought it into town in a brown paper sack. Ha! I know you like that. Please don't steal it. It's copyrighted. Shout out to Pops, man. Love you, dude. I'm out of here, ladies and gentlemen. This has been the All Things Sport podcast. I am your host, Damian Banks. Again, catch me on Instagram, Twitter, at Sports by Damian, SportsByDaimeon. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen. We down!
Why you wanna college hate on me? I wrote more than a thesis. I can lead a course of pyrokinesis. I'm that hot, believe it or not. I read the spot they bleeding. Don't stop your grass drills, hand skills. Listen to them pessimists as if I would even take that in.